all we're trying to decide at this point is not whether that money ought to be spent, but whether it ought to be should agricultural farm service be something that happens at the national level?
Who here comes from a farm family?
National level.
Or at the state level?
Who here sitting at this table has come from a farm family? Raise your hand.
Not me, but my wife. Yes, they come from a farming family, and I assume it's my own now. So yes.
Okay. Now, anybody who has worked on a farm, God help me if I ever have to go through another summer like that in my life, I'd rather just hurl myself off a building. It is horrible.
Yeah.
Back-breaking work. Mm-hmm. Horrible back-breaking work that you have got to have a love for doing that.
Yeah.
And if what you do, nobody is doing it for a subsidy. Nobody is doing it for a subsidy. Nobody is doing it because they don't have other opportunities.
And they're not wealthy either.
And they're not wealthy. Mm-mm. And if I have a situation where the cost of my pesticides or my equipment or whatever it is that it costs me to run a farm, if my costs go up and the potato that I'm producing costs me more to dig out of the ground, I cannot pass that cost. I cannot pass that cost on to the consumer. It's not, what is it, elastic and elastic? Who's the economist? You see what I'm saying?
I remember now.
You cannot pass it on to the consumer.
The problem with this is that when you...
It's perfectly elastic.
Thank you. It's elastic.
Perfectly
exactly.
Elastic.
So I remember now, Hazlitt's problem is that when you look at the way it actually works, the government ends up subsidizing the people who are poor farmers, or the people who don't work hard, or the people because when you look at how the money flows, the money ends up flowing to the people who aren't good at it.
Well, but isn't that just in the nature of investing? So, for example, if I
yes, but
it's investing.
But he explains that. But the way a bank gives money, see, the guy who's a good farmer, he can get money from the bank because he has good credit and he has a good history and da-da-da-da-da-da. The government loans money without fear of the risk that it takes on that money.
Are you saying that banks are good at allocating capital?
Oh, no, let's not go down that.
I was leaning in. Did you have something there?
Just to throw something into the farm topic of federal versus state, without taking a side, just throwing out there, is one issue that many people present with the federal government getting involved with farm and agriculture is that there's more uncertainty and less knowledge to the farmers as to what's being done, as such the pesticides and what's being applied to them.
Yeah.
And just on a theoretical level, the government doesn't have their intentions aren't necessarily lying in with the farmers. It's international, and they have their own interests and their own goals. So the argument that many propose is that the federal government getting involved is using agriculture with other intentions in mind, and it doesn't go back down to the people, so to speak.
Right. They're using it as a tool for something else.
There are other people. The state government has other states in mind. The federal government has other federal governments in mind.
So what he's done is he's just brought the conversation back down to your original question, which was...
It was federal or state.
Is it federal or state? Now, we have established, because Tony and I make the rules for the entire United States of America, Tony and I have established that farm subsidies are appropriate, that we need to support our agriculture. Now, the question is, as Trevor has brought it back around, is it state or is federal?